Well, damn, Mike tried to trip on me. Falcon
Yeah,
fans,
I was
Falcon
like,
fans.
"What's going on? I can't hear you." I was like, "Hold on, I can't hear you.
Now we're
What's
not
up,
doing that
Jack?"
tonight.
No, no,
We're
sir, we
not
cannot.
doing that, Terry.
No, sir, we are not.
Falcon fans, Falcon fans, Falcon fans, and of course, Falcon fans. You already know what time it is. One time for the fan. Episode 197 here. Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast, and probably some other more too as well. T Will's here tonight, and of course, we have a special guest going to be joining us here shortly. Miss ATL Lisa is in the building from BloggingDirty. She's going to be talking some Falcons football with us. T Will,
Yes,
how's everything
sir.
going for you, sir? Last time we talked was Friday morning for breakfast with One Time for the Fan, which we had an amazing show with A1 Forever in here talking Falcons football. Now we're back with another special guest tonight to talk some more Falcons football. T. Will, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. Doing well. Sunday, Lord woke me up. I have no complaints. I'm ready to talk some Falcon football, and I'm excited about it. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
Hey, let's go ahead and get to it. Falcon fans, hit the like, hit the share, hit that subscribe button. Want to go ahead and bring on a special guest that I'm sure a lot of you all know, because a lot of Falcon fans in these, doesn't matter if it's a Discord or it could be a Facebook group or it could be on Twitter too as well. Falcons love talking, amongst each other. And of course, when you have some diehard Atlanta Falcon fans that speak the truth about the Atlanta Falcons, that keep it real about the Atlanta Falcons, people tend to really listen to them a lot more. Because there are some Falcon fans in our community that don't know what the hell they are talking about.
That's true.
But then you have some diehard Atlanta Falcon fans who not only support the team on social media, but they support the team at the bins. They support the team on the road. They support the team from the house. I mean, there's some diehard fans out here, Terry. Am I right?
Yes, sir, you are. What's funny is when you run into the ones that aren't informed. I ran into a gentleman. I had my Falcons gear on, and he was like, "Yeah, they need to get rid of Matt Ryan." And I didn't have the heart to tell him it was 2024. So I just, I left him with his dignity. But
that's tough.
It is tough because you can't really have a current conversation with somebody that checked out 4 years ago. So, yeah, but hey, thankfully, all of our fans are informed and day by day and live and die with it. So I think that's another bonus and another blessing that, we're not only blessed to do this show because we like to talk about it, but we get to talk about it with fans who are passionate about it and they are informed and they know what's going on. So there you go.
Terry, let's go ahead and get straight to it. Big
Let's
shout out to
do it.
everybody checking in. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. ATL Lisa is now here joining us on One Time for the Fan. And this is not ATL Lisa's first time here on One Time for the Fan. She's been on the podcast before. So, Lisa, welcome back to our podcast here. How's everything going for you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. I just feel like there's a lot we have to talk about and we'll talk about tonight. But, we were the talk of the draft. So
still are. Still talking about it.
Right. A week after, it's still like.
Still talking about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When you have a team like the Atlanta Falcons now that's probably going to be on the road to success again, which we need to be back on that path. I mean, we have a team that's possibly going to be winning the division, making the playoffs. I mean, they always try to find some way to, discredit us and look at us in a negative light, especially the media outside of the Falcons community, right? So I always look at Myles Garrett, big shout to Myles Garrett, Torrey McElhaney, big shout to Torrey McElhaney, like some of the Falcons journalists that cover the Falcons here. Like I love how they always report on the Falcons in a positive way too as well. But I heard Lisa, I heard some reports outside of the Falcons community where they don't think we're going to do anything this year, and they're really trying to break us down. They want to see Michael Penix play for week 1. They want to see Terry fail. They want to see Raheem fail. I've heard it all already. But we keep it real here at One Time for the Fan. Lisa, you keep it real every time you talk about the Falcons. So how's everything going on for you as a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan? I know you just got back from the draft recently. And for Falcon fans that's checking in, that's never been to the draft, that don't know how the draft day experience works. We did get a chance to check in with April Showers, who was there at the draft too as well. Big shout out to April and the Falconator on our draft show. But Lisa, you experienced the draft in a different way. I mean, you've been there not only like like 2 or 3 times already, like 4 times.
Yeah, this was my
draft?
second.
2 times.
Yeah, I went to Kansas City last year. The first time experiencing something, obviously, you're going to be excited. And I mean, everybody, all 32 fan bases are represented at the draft. Everybody's in full fan mode. The energy was great at both drafts. But it's just you're hyped. You're hyped to see who's going to be, the new players joining the team. I enjoyed them both. I will say Detroit, they had the draft experiences kind of spread out through the city.
Mm-hmm.
And the first day of the draft, I ended up walking the equivalent of 9 miles.
Jeez.
I was just like, I mean, bottom half mile. But it was just kind of, you want to experience as much as you can, right? You want to, just take it all in. So it's kind of, you sign up for it because it's really once you're at the draft experience and then the draft later that evening, I mean, there was, at least for me, there was no going back to my hotel, taking a nap or you're full fan mode. Let's do this. So
that's from the moment you get off of the plane. So I've never been to the draft. So, I mean, tell me as a fan, Lisa, like you're at the airport, there's fans traveling from Atlanta to Detroit or to wherever the draft is. You get on the plane, people are talking Falcons football. I mean, is everybody talking about their NFL team?
Sure.
Like, is it? I know some planes are like, people falling asleep and they're tired, but this is a plane probably full of NFL fans, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
So
and especially leaving from Atlanta, there were NFL fans from different fan bases. But I mean, I have to admit, though, we had a very early morning flight, so it was like a 7 a.m. flight. So I will admit, I pretty much slept that whole flight. But once we landed, touchdown in Detroit, it was go. It was go time. And literally, me and my travel partners, we were like, we're just going downtown Detroit. So we found a place to store our backpacks. Like we traveled very light, and then we hit the draft experience. I'm telling you, it was an all-day event. You're exploring a new city and everything, and just seeing, of course, there's signage all over, welcome to Detroit, or actually welcome to the D. Just exploring, going from the airport directly to the draft experience. That's what we did. Like, we were like, we're here now. This is, and obviously the energy is around the first day of the draft. That's, the crowds were, I think they reported over 275,000.
Yeah, so I want to ask a question about that crowd. Like, I see it on TV. Terry, we was watching. How does that, like, everybody's standing out there? Like, I know there's bars open and there's some restaurants around. Like, is everything just packed to where you can't get inside nowhere? It's just like is that like a stand around moment? Or if you can get to the inner circle, you're supposed to be there. How is that experience? Because you're in the midst of like 200,000 fans. Lisa.
And that's the thing, you kind of have to get there early. And that's why we were like, we're not going to the hotel. We want to, you know what I'm saying? It's almost just like you kind of have to state your location and kind of get there. So that was one reason behind the logic of, because they do have storage lockers. So if you have like oversized things, because, the NFL clear bag policy was in effect, but obviously with us traveling, but they had, storage lockers where we were able to safely secure our items, but we literally hit the draft experience as soon as it opened. And it was crowded then. It was we were kidding the Detroiters. We were like, did y'all take the day off for this? Because why is nobody at work? You know what I'm saying? Because we got there, I think the draft experience opened either 11 or noon. And when we got there, there were already lines. So that's why we were like, it's a holiday for y'all? But a lot of people did take the day off because that was a major event for their city. Some of the Detroit stars, like Eminem and Big Sean, they were out and about doing different things. So it was, again, everybody's in good spirits. And again, even seeing other Falcons fans in line, a lot of people, are not from Georgia. They're coming from different parts of the country to support the Falcons and see who our draft picks are going to be.
That is true. Terry, you're hearing the draft day experience from Lisa. I know you've never been to draft, but it's probably getting us prepped to go to a draft day. Terry, we're going to have to find a way to go to one. Your thoughts on that, Terry, from what Lisa experiences at these drafts? Because, it's actually a great time for Falcon fans because we do get a chance to see, the rookies that's going to be selected from the Falcon fans that weekend. And for Falcon fans in the chat, Lisa, we tried to get Lisa on the show that day. But Lisa, you had so much going on. It was just
and
too much.
Weird. There was the internet 2 years in a row. The internet has been horrible at these drafts. So I would have loved to have been able to report live in action, so you all could see in real time, the vibe and what was going on. But it was just, and it's loud. It's very loud, music. It's just a lot going on. But I do think, for NFL fans, how like some people have like they want to go to every NFL venue. I definitely think at least once in your life, hit up an NFL draft. Now, next year's in Green Bay. Haven't quite decided if I'm going to do Green Bay. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The city does matter. I mean, who knows? I may, but I'm just saying, but it is a fun event. And like I said, last year was my first year in Kansas City. And I had enough fun where I was just like, I can run it back in Detroit. Yeah. And I had a great time. It really was fun.
You're hearing it from Falcon fans who, I mean, like you just said, she went to Kansas City and then she said she could run it back for a following year. Right. That's the fans that just really believe in the Falcons too as well, where they're not even just ready for the season. They're showing up to the draft event. Right. They're showing up to the off-season events, even the OTAs, even the training camps. I mean, Lisa Sheppard is there too as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. 'Cause I remember you made a comment the other night about the Hill for Falcon fans that's going to training camp coming up. So we're going to talk about that too in a minute, training camp experiences. Terry, you hear what Lisa Sheppard said about, like I said, the draft day experiences, and of course she travels to these events. Just how cool is that just to be a diehard fan, to step in Lisa Sheppard's shoes for a day?
Hey man, big shoes to fill. We all can't do it. I have a couple questions for you. The first one, and it's a silly one, but I'm going to ask it. How many times did someone greet you? This is Detroit with "What up, though"? Like,
I mean, that's their
slang,
thing,
ain't it? What up, though?
That's their thing, right? That's
it's very like that's their thing, And what our thing is. And I saw a guy with the T-shirt ATL. You know what it is, I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? We took a picture. He was like, "Yo," but he actually said that was his favorite shirt. But again, representing in a different city, no matter what the NFL event is. Especially when you see other Falcons fans, you just automatically, you'll either yell "rise up" to one another, or you'll, actually make your way to one another, which me and that guy did, and take pictures and talk, and and he was from Atlanta but living in Michigan, so he was repping, ATL, what it is. So
All right. So the first real question, you're there. You're in the draft. You had to know this question's coming. You're in the draft. It's the moment we're all looking for. 5, 4, 3, 2, Penix. What's it like there? You're live. You're looking around. You're seeing the fans that are not Falcon fans. You're seeing Falcon fans. If you could describe
live
for
reaction
us in the moment what that was like for you and for your perceived notion of what it was like for the Falcon fans as well.
I my initial reaction was, and I yelled this out, I thought we were going defense. I have to admit, because I was there. I got there, as I mentioned, Thursday morning early, and I left Saturday afternoon. And when I go on these trips, I'm in Falcons gear the whole time. I don't even take, non-Falcons gear when I'm going to an NFL event. So I will say the immediate, I felt day 2, everywhere I went, people, non-Falcons fans, is people from other fan bases, Packers, Steelers, whoever. What do you think about the pick? And it was almost like I went to a restaurant as well. I sat down for maybe 30 seconds. The table next to me, nothing but Lions fans. They didn't even say hello. What y'all think about the pick? I was like, good Lord. It was really like, and again, I think in the moment, and I was just hanging out and having fun. So I really wasn't on, social media, seeing the immediate results, but being there, I'm telling you, more than 30 people. It got to a point. It was a little wild, everybody. And I was just I guess I mean, yes, I know it's a big story. I'm not trying to discount that, you know, it was basically, I feel like the shock of the draft, but other fan bases, you know, investment in that pick, it was crazy. And I even I was on, when I was in downtown Detroit, they have this thing called the People Mover. It's not quite like our MARTA system, but it just kind of takes you, you know, from point A to point B in downtown Detroit. So got on the People Mover to go to wherever. You know, again, I think it was Lions fans, I think Green Bay, they were all like, they would not let me just sit in peace. It was nothing about, well, how did you feel? What did you think? I was like, wow, okay. And I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm just so wrapped up in Falcons world that I'm not really, I mean, of course I pay attention because I'm an NFL fan, but I don't know that I would ever go to another fan base and be like, what do you think about that pick, you know, for their team? So it was wild. When I tell you, that was the question for the entire weekend. The moment that pick was made, it was, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
And in the end, for me, it's like, it's my team. And, you know, I think my first reaction, I was honest. I was like, well, I did think we were going defense, but as the days went along, I was just like, I like the pick because it just, you know, they just were engaging me a little bit too much. And I'm like, but why do you care? We don't even play y'all this year. Like, what do you care? So yeah, for us to not have won anything in terms of a Super Bowl, there was a lot of, you know, like I said, investment in what Atlanta was doing. And it kind of, I was just like, wow. Me and my travel partner were like, this is a lot. Like, you know, but, and then of course I know, you know, the immediate reaction, you know, some mainstream outlets, you know, didn't grade us high and were saying, well, why did you pay Cousins all that money if you were going after Pennant? But nonetheless, at the end of the day, I'm riding with the decision, and I'm hopeful that it all works out in our favor when this season starts. That's always my bottom line. So
that's good. That's good. That's
fans hit that like.
You answered my next question, which was, what do you think about it now? So it's interesting. So again, a lot of times, especially with this show, I go back maybe a year or so, right? And it really. It gives you perspective. It gives you perspective. You know, I've heard some pastors say, if you're going through something, sometimes it's good to look back where you came from and what you've conquered, and it'll give you perspective. So I'm thinking about this show. I'm thinking about what we're going to be asking. And I go back and I look at your show and I look at a few others. And the funny thing was, the theme of it was, we need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. We've been talking for the last 2 years about a quarterback. And so it's interesting because, you know, there's an old adage that says you can see it half empty or half full. It really depends upon your mindset, where you're going, right? There's the old adage, you take 2 children, 2 boys, you put them both in a room full of horse manure. The one child starts to cry and say, oh, it's horse manure in here. And he's the negative one. The second one is like, well, with all this horse manure in here, there's got to be a horse. It's the way you look at it, right? So if you give me just a moment, I just want to walk you guys through the last 2 years, right? So prior to 2023, we had Butt Fumble 2. That is Marcus. If you guys don't know, that whole, I just call him Butt Fumble 2. We had him.
It was a pretty bad day.
And again, he did wear a Falcons jersey, so I would forever have an affinity for him. But let's be honest, a quarterback, he was not a starting one. Okay, and then we had Ritter, and you can say whatever you want to say there, but it's amazing at how we go 2 seasons. Basically 3, because I love Matt, but that last year Matt was done. We knew it. Matt knew it. Everybody knew it, right? So we essentially go 3 seasons without a quarterback in a quarterback-driven league where you cannot win without the quarterback, and we signed Kirk Cousins, right? Because the news pundits, they keep going, and you spent $100 million, and that's a bad investment. $100 million is chump change when you talk about a quarterback. Right? When you really take this thing apart and sit it down, It's very logical. And it goes this way. We went 3 seasons without a quarterback and went 7-9, each one of them. You're not going to win, right? Newsflash, you're not going to win without a quarterback. We signed Kirk Cousins, who's 36, coming off an Achilles. And in those mid-30s, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when Father Time is going to show up and say, hey, buddy, it's your time, right? Yeah. So you know what we did? We went with the backup plan. We drafted Michael Penix. Now, we paid Kirk Cousins $100 million to play this year and next year. And if he's great and we win a Super Bowl, is anybody going to care about Michael Penix? They're not, right? But we drafted Michael Penix because what if Kirk gets hurt again? In other words, from my vantage point, the new regime basically looked at this and said, I don't want to be caught without a quarterback again.
Exactly.
And that is a completely logical assessment.
Right.
And I say all that to say, I want to open up to the panel. What do you guys think about that? And I'm saying from the perspective of looking back where we came to where we are now, how does that look? How does that move look to you? And we'll start with our illustrious guest first. Miss Lisa, go right ahead.
Yeah, for me, it's, we need stability at the QB1 position, and we haven't had it since Matt's departure. And this crazy, QB carousel that we had these last few years, we just weren't, I don't think it wouldn't be fair to the fans to not, bring in somebody or get somebody that you think will be at the position and can provide you with the play that you needed. Because remember, it was always, if Atlanta's just a quarterback away, the QB play was horrible. I mean, even Coach Rock talked about it
every day.
You know what I mean? So the fact that we doubled down on it, to me, I'm like, well, all right, then let's go. And I mean, I'm not going to say that, I actually was on vacation when the cousin signing happened. So I was, I didn't, when I came back to the States, because I, had my phone off, I was, just kind of disconnected. I was like, 4 years. And then I saw the, the contract terms. I was just like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. But at the same time, I understood it. And I personally feel like they were like, well, I've heard people say, well, if the Falcons, were after Penix in the first place, then why sign Cousins? But you can't, there would be no guarantee that Penix would have been there. So it would have been too risky. Imagine if we didn't sign Cousins, and if we did it, if the draft didn't fall to where Penix was available, that just would have been a terrible position. So
do me a favor, Miss Lisa, not to cut you off. What word did you use again? You just used a word. You said it would have been a risk, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Risk, right? A risk, right?
And that was a risk you couldn't take. We could not take. I mean,
I look at it another way, right? Okay. You're successful in your field. You get to travel. You got BloggingDirty. You've done some things, and I'm going to be quite frank with you. You've probably gone places that maybe 20, 30 years before, maybe a woman couldn't go. So you're obviously a pioneer, and you obviously take risks, right? Correct?
Correct.
Let me ask you a question. Would you be as successful had you not taken those risks?
No, I think it's part of growth. I think you just have to do it. And at the same time, I mean, we're talking about, the risk of our team winning. Terry, his job is on the line. Let's be 100% clear.
This is his year going into that contract.
I feel like he wouldn't have made these decisions lightly. Right now, as a GM, he's 0-3. And again, we understand, the situation he came into when he took the job. But, the NFL is a results-driven business, right?
Yes, it is.
So he understands, if things, don't go our way, then he's, 0-4 as a GM. How much rope is Blank going to give him? I doubt if he gets 5 years to get one winning season, right?
I doubt
so
it as well.
All that to say, no way is Terry Fontenot taking this lightly. I think, I'm pretty sure, I've heard the interviews post the draft choice that, I feel like he was prepared for the pushback, but I remember Roddy made a great tweet after the pick, and he liked it as well. Basically, he was saying we needed consistency. We haven't had it since Matt Ryan left. So if a former, Ring of Honor player for the Falcons is on board, I'm on board. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, I always feel like there's in every draft, there's at least one team that makes kind of everything go wonky. Last year it was Carolina, trading up to the number 1 spot. We were like, oh my goodness. And this year,
this year's Penix.
Yep. So all of that to say, I'm just hopeful that, number one, as fans, we're going to support our team, but we need to start winning. We need to start winning, and I'm excited. Our preseason game's going to be lit. We're going to get to see Michael out there. My guess is, Cousins, if he's ready to go, he'll be, starting. We won't really see him in preseason. We'll see him week 1. So our preseason game's going to be lit, and then when it's time to, for it to count, let's go, Kirk Cousins, Kirk O'Chains, as we call him.
And Lisa, to keep you in the off-season mode too as well. I mean, the Falcons did make some off-season moves, which I have up here on the screen too as well, because we were talking about Kirk Cousins, and then the draft class too as well. I think they had a decent draft class. For Falcon fans here in the chat, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Here talking with ATL Lisa from Blogging Dirty. I mean, not only Kirk Cousins signing in the offseason, but Darnell Mooney too as well. Contavious Street, they re-signed too as well. Eddie Goldman, which is surprising for Falcon fans to see back here in a uniform. They signed cornerback Antonio Hamilton, Kevin King, the cornerback too as well. They signed him. Kyle Pitts, the 5th-year option, and then of course the draft class. So far, Lisa, like, what offseason move are you just excited about this season? Doesn't have to be just which offseason move is going to be the most impactful for the team, but what are you excited about?
Well, in all honesty, I was happy when we picked up Pitt's 5th-year option, and I'll tell you why.
Let's go.
He had a first, he had a great a very good rookie season with Matt Ryan, and then of course, his 2nd year he got injured. 3rd year was so, and there were other teams, like star players from other teams saying, get Pitts out of Atlanta. They're not using him right, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, is Pitts happy here? Like, does he still want to remain a Falcon? Because again, he's on social.
Without Matt there too as well.
And these are people. Athletes are people.
Right. Athletes. And because I think they were saying, I forget who the player was, but I think he was a Cowboy. He was just like, yeah, we could use you in Dallas, and I'm just like, I mean, he's seen these things, and so how does he feel? And then I will say, at the Kirk Cousins presser where he, told us that basically Pitts was helping to recruit him here. I was like, oh, okay. So just knowing that Pitts, wasn't ready to get up out of here, and he wants to make this work even more, wants to make it work. He was recruiting Cousins. He made a joke. He's like, give me more targets. We good. With the whole jersey thing. So I felt like, okay, Pitts, like, again, the highest drafted tight end. Like, we gotta,
NFL history.
I mean, we can't, it hasn't quite lived up to that billing. And then not knowing that he was as hurt as he was. So I'm really, really, really hoping that Pitts has a breakout season. He's due, right? And again, to justify that was, the first Fontenot draft pick, right? So kind of hoping that if where we got him at number 4, that pick pays off for us.
Yeah.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Too as well. Michael's in the chat. He said he stays on Blogging Dirty. For those that do not know about Blogging Dirty, Lisa, can you just give a little bit about your time with Blogging Dirty and what you do over there too as well? Because Scott Karisic, who's also been on the podcast too as well. And we love talking football with Scott. Is also with Blogging Dirty too as well. So Lisa, give us a little bit of information about Blogging Dirty.
Yeah, so Blogging Dirty is a fan blog. So we're all, we're not officially affiliated with the Falcons, but we cover, Falcons content. So, we get to choose what we want to write about. My little niche is writing about like the fan experience. I featured, he was at the time the president of the Atlanta Falcons Germany fan club, but he has since been named the International Fan of the Year. His name is Alex Santos. He did the 4th round pick.
We saw him draft night. He checked in with us the first night. April Showers quickly joined us, and he was over there right next to April, and he quickly waved to the camera. So that was great to check up with him. And we saw him in London.
Yes, we saw him in London, and he, he became a Falcons fan 30 years ago due to Jamal Anderson. He loves Jamal Anderson. That's his favorite player. And so, but just him taking, because I'm just like, well, wait a minute, you're not a big soccer fan. And he just took to Jamal, hence the Falcons, and it's been fandom for 30 years, right? So, for someone not born here, not raised here, no real ties to the city, you would never know it. Throw up the A as much as we do, you know what I mean? So, so just, and then he's grown. What he said his mission was to have a centralized place where German Falcons fans could come together. And so he's helped to grow that fan base organically. And I just think it's cool. And not to say that you even have to be an international fan, to get my attention. I met, and he's a season ticket holder, college kid, goes to school in South Carolina. He drives to all the home games 2 hours and back every home game, right? So for those people that think that, our fan base is weak or we ain't got no real fan, it's just not true.
Strong base in Atlanta and outside of Atlanta, I can tell you that.
Yes. Right. We got fans and, there's some super cool stories, within those, once you talk to people and just kind of get to know them. And the fact that, we have this young kid, who is a season ticket holder driving to every home game for South Carolina. I get to meet, other fans, that don't live in Atlanta, but they make their way to the Benz. They try to at least once a year or once, or maybe 2 times a year. So there's some really cool, stories out there around Atlanta Falcons fandom, and even especially, some of the fans who may have joined our Super Bowl run year and they stuck around. I'm like, because again, they don't have to do it. They got 31 other options.
I remember seeing the social media accounts go crazy for the Falcons when we made the Super Bowl. It went from like 600,000 to 700,000, like well over like 2 or 3 million quickly on Facebook and Instagram and so forth. So it's kind of crazy just seeing that.
Yeah. And it's cool though, because, for me, the Falcons are the only team I've ever known or repped. So I was born into this. So, okay. So I'm one type of fan, but these are fans, that, have other options and they choose to rep. And again, they rep the Falcons as hard as we do, right? So, they traveled, speaking about the German fans, they traveled to London for our game there. Then after that, they traveled to Atlanta.
Yes.
And then after that, after the Atlanta game,
traveled to New York, I believe they went.
They traveled to New York. I was just like, because basically they were like, well, since we're in America, let's hit, of course we're going to go to the Biz, but let's get in a road game too. I mean, I love it. And their enthusiasm is great. It's just fun to get their perspective, but they're like, we're not going anywhere. This is our team. And I love that.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also in the chat, what off-season move have you guys been impressed with so far? Falcon fans, in the chat, what off-season move have you all been impressed with? ATL Lisa from BloggingDirty is here talking Falcons football with us. Terry, how you doing, man? Everything good? Like we're this is what the off-season's about. I mean, when the season starts and these players out here, fighting for their job and XYZ, like it's really going to get underway. But right now, it's the off season. We're laid back. We're chilling. It's May. What, Cinco de Mayo for some that's out here celebrating tonight. I know people might be out there drinking and having a good time and so forth. But definitely drink responsibly wherever you are.
Yes, please do.
There's some places out here in Georgia that 12 is out there waiting for you. So just be very careful when you're on those roads tonight. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Terry, what off-season move for you would you say you're impressed with so far with the Falcons?
If you gotta nail me to it, I would say Kirk. I would say Kirk and then Penix, because it really took some chutzpah to do that. Like it took some, hey, we're gonna, this is, that's look, we're either gonna get fired or we're gonna succeed, but there's no middle ground. This is what we're doing. We're going for it, right? And you know, Jack, you started your own Falcons Rise Up tour, and it has grown to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
But if I ask you, I'm sure you would say there was some risk involved, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my point is, you're not going to get anywhere without taking a risk, right? We could have been safe. We could have been like, yeah, we're going to draft Dallas Turner, and everybody's going to say that was a good one. But guys, we're going after a Super Bowl here, right? Let's be real. Falcons have been in existence for 50-something years. We are going after a Super Bowl. We are going after franchise legitimacy. And you can't always – sometimes you got to blaze a new path, right? You think people were on board when Bill Walsh came out with the West Coast offense? I was around. They weren't, right? When the Cowboys started shifting defensive lines, it's going way, way back, right? People weren't on board with it. But guess what? Sometimes you do something and you blaze a trail, right? So for me, yeah, I think it was incredibly bold to sign Kirk for $100 million and then come back and draft Penix, knowing the fallout, knowing what you would have to do. I think it shows not only audacity, but it shows commitment, right?
They double down on the QB1 position.
Yeah, it shows commitment. So yeah, that's the move for me. Jack, what say you? What are your thoughts?
Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. You see Berto's comment in the chat, securing the most important position on the field, which is the quarterback. For me, I think that's the move that impressed me this offseason, because we talked about it here on the channel, how many teams needed quarterbacks and how many quarterbacks were available. We kept going over it about who could be the right fit and who would Zach Robinson want to bring in. We kept trying to break down the interview that he had about elite processor and what type of guy he's looking for. And we was on the channel saying, well, they had Matt Stafford in Detroit, so it's got to be a pocket passer. Then, fans were in the chat saying, no, they're going rookie. You want to get somebody young, somebody fresh. And it was a wild offseason. But then when they secured Kirk, when we went into that combine, Terry, Lisa went into that combine, and I think it was Zach Klein from WSB that had reported there was a lot of chatter about Kirk Cousins possibly going to the Falcons. That's when we started to kind of shift what was going to be, the talk here in the Falcons community, that Kirk could be the guy. But some fans still didn't believe it. Berto once again gave me a call one day and told me that it's going to be Kirk Cousins, right? And for Falcon fans here in the chat, I'm excited about having Kirk, but I'm also excited about having Michael Penix too as well, because you're talking about now and you're talking about the future. Right. And if you're talking about one time for the fan 2 years from now, I want to be, on the scale being bigger and better than where we are right now. So for the Falcons, they're doing the same thing. What happens now versus what happened in the future, they're trying to focus on success. Right. And it is securing the most important position in the NFL, which is the quarterback position. And the Falcons did take care of that. Very good. So Falcon fans in the chat, hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
Can I add one thing, Jack?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I feel like I think Falcons fans should have kind of known that Penix was for real in play when they, let us know that the Falcons had like a private workout with him. And, that to me was just like, oh, for real? That's what we might be doing? That to me was a signal, because otherwise, why would you bother? Right. So, and like I said, even though I was surprised, I was just like, after like many of us, after I really thought about it and knowing that we needed some consistency, at the position, I was okay with it. I'm not mad at it at all.
Falcon fans, Lisa's not mad at it. Terry's not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. So you guys shouldn't be mad at it, right? I mean, come on. We're diehard Atlanta Falcon fans here. We all want to win the ring. The Falcons' vision is probably different than a lot of our visions here in the chat, because for those that went into draft night focusing on just the edge rusher or a cornerback, that wasn't a part of the Falcons' plan. And then to hear from like fans that went to the draft party at the Benz, and they had the board that had all the names that was supposed to be selected that night for who the Falcons could select, and then not seeing Michael Penix's name on that list was actually kind of interesting, because that was the pick. right? And Falcon fans get to a board and they're looking at Nate Wiggins, they're looking at Dallas Turner, and they're looking at all these names, but there was no Michael Penix there for them to select on that board. So Falcon fans, it's cool that we're going into the future with, you know, a quarterback, probably with the, I mean, if looking at the NFC South, the best starting quarterback and backup quarterback right now. If you're looking at the future, Bryce Young, Michael Penix, Spencer Rattler, and who, if Baker Mayfield continues on with the Bucs. So it's actually good that you get a chance to know that, you know, Michael Penix is going to go up against some guys that's still in his class, right? I mean, I don't even think when Michael Penix gets the chance to play that Baker Mayfield will be there with the Bucs. Right? They're probably got to go ahead and draft their guy too as well. So you can get 4 young quarterbacks in the division, you know? So Falcon fans, be cool about it. Sterling Woods is in the chat. He said, what's going on, everyone?
Sterling.
Quayshawn Dumas is in the chat. He said, I'm not mad. Love it.
Awesome.
And also for me, knowing that, you know, because it came out that the Aints were, you know, trying to move up to get Penix. So I'm like, hey, they wanted him, but we got him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, Falcon fans would not like to see Michael Penix in the Saints uniform.
I don't think he would.
Because I'm sure he probably would have beat out Derek Carr and would have been the starting quarterback over there. What's up, Terry?
Berto has been renamed Berto Damas.
Not Berto Damas.
Berto Damas, yes.
Sheesh.
Yes, because he secretly called Kirk Cousins. And those of you who witnessed the show on Smitty's show, they did a mock draft and Berto took him in the second round. So I don't know who he talks to. I don't know whatever, but his name going forward is Berto Damas.
Love it.
Lisa, I know you got to get up out of here in a couple minutes, but it's just been great talking with you here on One Time for the Fan. You know we're going to get you back on One Time for the Fan. We'll probably have like a training camp podcast.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun.
I'm sure you'd love to do it right there from the over there by the Flowery Branch by the hill, over there by the parking lot. I mean, we can talk Falcons football 24/7. There's been days where I've been to training camp and Lisa is there before me, right? So Falcon fans, like, this is real diehard fandom here. Now, Lisa, Jamal Anderson recently posted a video, and he was talking about
with the 3 fire
uniforms here next season. What do you think about these Falcons with the new uniforms possibly next year? Fans are saying bring back the throwbacks. A couple of versions of some, different variations that the Falcon fans have been looking into. But what are your thoughts about what Jamal Anderson said? He wants to bring back the throwbacks, right?
I mean, that was what I grew up on. So I love the throwback Falcons logo.
There you go.
A lot of the gear that I have, I specifically get. Even this hat I'm wearing has the throwback on it, which I love. But I loved how Jamal was talking about he's gonna put himself on the uniform committee. I was like, but yeah, I'm with it. I think it would be cool because the ones that we have now came out in 2020. So this is our 4th year with these uniforms. So if they wanted to update them for the 2025 season, I think it would be cool. But yeah, a throwback logo somehow, mixed in with the updated something, I would be down for it. I love it.
I'm with it.
Terry, your thoughts about the throwback uniforms?
Man, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I would love it. Let me tell you something. I wouldn't mind if we wore the throwback jerseys, every Sunday. I love it. First, quick story. I met Jamal Anderson maybe 20 years ago at Best Buy, and that was a big dude. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Now, he's not tall, okay? But when I met him, I could understand why defensive backs did not want to hit this man, okay? His width was, I don't know if you can see it. It was like, this man was a Hulk, all right? I didn't shake his hand. I shook he shook my arm. His legs were like 2 tree trunks. Like, let me tell you something, brother. Not that
for a running back in the 90s, that was a pretty big running back.
Yeah.
Him and Sean Alexander was 2 of the biggest running backs I've seen in the 90s.
If you hit him with this shoulder, you're gonna dislocate it, right? That was a big dude. But no, I agree, man. I think look, I love the old school jerseys, and Jack, we can't see Miss Lisa, and we can't, there we go. We got to see her pretty face. Okay, so Yeah, I love the old school jerseys, man. I love the old school helmets. I think it would be great. No disrespect to the current uniforms, but I just feel like, yeah, it would be better. We got a new regime in here. Let's get back to some winning ways. Let's get back to some of our forefathers: Steve Bartkowski, William Andrews, Wallace Francis, Alfred Jenkins, Chris Chandler, Jamal Anderson, dude I went to school with, golly, receiver on the 98, Terrence Mathis.
Terrence
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Lisa, I know you spoke to Terrence Mathis too as well before.
Yeah. So, but I'm all for it, man. What say you, Jack?
I'm all for the throwbacks. I'm sure the Falcons are going to give us something that, fans are, going to be upset about. Because of course with new jerseys, you're not. With new jerseys, you know how it is. When you get new uniforms, you know how it is. Even it can be your job, right? It could be at your job where you work. You get new uniforms, like, what is this? But the Jets put out something. I think the Texans put out something. Fans were talking about that. Some fans said the new Texans uniforms look like Power Ranger uniforms, and some other stuff like that. The new helmets kind of look weird. I kind of thought it was kind of cool. I kind of thought the new logo was kind of cool because you got to get it changed. Different. So you don't know if they're going to change the logo. Like, you don't know if they're going to change, like, the font on the letters. Like, we don't know. But I think next year, like, they're going to have something that Falcon fans, should really look into and say, hey, man, this is actually pretty cool that they can get a new jersey every 4 or 5 years. The last time they had it, they had the Julio. That's when Julio left, is when they had the new jerseys.
Yeah.
Right? And
they did.
I bought a bunch of Julio jerseys that year, and he left. So it's like, please don't put somebody in that jersey next year that's going to be leaving, because I'm not going to be,
that's not
spending all this money. You know what I mean? But Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe. But I think they're going to do a good job, making their new uniforms for 2025. Lisa, you also met Jamal Anderson too as well. How was your experience?
Jamal is cool.
Very cool.
Let me also say he looks like he can still play. Okay. But Jamal's a lot of fun. He's very fan friendly. Yeah, you can see there. It was funny because he actually was talking, because you see my bandana has the old school logo. Mm-hmm. He actually said he had never seen it and he wanted it. And I was just like, you're not getting my bandana.
You can't have it.
You Jamal Anderson, but no. But yeah, he's really, cool, fun. He reps the Falcons hard. And he's been doing a lot of things with the team. So I expect for us to see him out and about this season as well. But yeah.
And that's a cool story too as well about, fans kind of just sticking up for their merch that they have, their Falcons gear. Because D offered to ask Bodie for that jacket one day at training camp, and Bodie was like, "Nah, you're not getting this."
I'm like, certainly. I was like,
and I'm sitting over there looking at Bodie like, Bodie, get him in a jacket, bro. I was getting ready to snatch Bodie at that jacket, like give D offer that damn jacket right now.
That's absolutely. Miss Lisa, I got a quick question for you. I know you got it. I asked this. Number one, it does my heart good that you have been a Falcons fan from day one, like me. So I kind of I can identify with a lot of it. But give me your top 3 Falcons moments that are not the obvious ones. So I know we went to the Super Bowl. I'm not talking about that, but maybe your top 3 Falcons moments to you. Non-playoffs where you just like, oh my God, I love this team. Just give me your top 3.
Non-playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, because everybody knows the Super Bowl, everybody knows that, but maybe just kind of some of your off the beaten path moments.
I will say when the Falcons acknowledged Michael Vick and Roddy White, they came out on a car together, and it's like the stadium erupted.
I remember that.
Were you there, T. Will, or you remember?
I was not, but I remember it. I definitely
that was
I was there that day. And that's actually a good moment to remember too as well. Thank you for that, Lisa. That was actually
and again, 2 of my favorites. I got to meet Roddy the weekend that Atlanta hosted the Super Bowl. He was out and about doing Super Bowl events, so I got to meet him. I love meeting players that still are connected to the team and still ride for the team. Mm-hmm. And if you follow Roddy on socials, he hates the ain't still, just like we do.
That's right.
And again, he definitely comments.
Roddy, Harry Douglas, Ovi Mahaley, like those are guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will also say, and this wasn't a game, but I got to meet speaking of Harry Douglas and Michael Jenkins. It was a private event where they were helping us with our fantasy football teams. And so, of course, we talked football. And just, Michael was super cool. That was my first time meeting him. I had met Harry before. Harry is still very also connected to the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I will also say, if you can see, I'm rocking my Dirty Birds chain.
I see it. I see it.
50th celebration of hip hop with all the Atlanta legends there in the house, as well as just Steve Barkowski was at that game. I did not get an opportunity to meet him. He was my first Falcons quarterback, number 10. So, but that game was split. That game was split.
I'm
reliving that moment. I'm getting that energy ready. I love it. I love it.
Mine too.
I mean, all of Atlanta came out for that game, and I was like, Falcons not gonna lose this game. Too many people here, it's just the energy, and plus, our team recognizing 50 years of hip hop. Please trust and believe. A lot of other NFL franchises did not do that, right? So, that was a good time to be in the band. So those are kind of non-playoff.
That's awesome. So real quick, my top 3. Number 1, I gotta be 10 or 11 years old, and the Falcons are playing the Rams, and it's come down to like the last second or whatever. And I love my Falcons as a kid, so when they would lose, I would cry, man. I'd take that personal. Like my dad was like, "Hey man, we're gonna stop this. You come on, right?" And I'm all mad, I'm tearing up, and he's like, "You better suck it up." And I'm like, "But they." And next thing I know, man, Steve Barkowski drops back, throws a bomb. Forget who. I can't remember who he threw it to, but he caught it. No time left on the field. Touchdown, and I was like, "See, Dad, yeah!" I'll never forget it. I'll never forget.
That's a great memory. That's a great memory.
All right, second one. Michael Vick is playing. I'm sorry, the Falcons and Michael Vick are playing the Panthers, and you're gonna remember this play. But he and I swear he dove like 10 yards. Like he literally just dove from the 5-yard line. Stretched his body, and his feet, his knees did not touch, and scored a touchdown. And that just blew my mind. Like I was like, I love Michael Vick forever. Like it's just, I love Michael Vick. So there's that. And then the last one was again playing. I think we might have been playing either Chicago or the Panthers. I can't remember, but they scored late. Matt drops back, throws a bomb to Roddy. Right. It's like it couldn't have been more than 20, 30 seconds. Throws a bomb, come down, clock it, throws another one, throws the out, and they kick the field goal and win the game. It could have been the Panthers because I think that was the get the F off our field.
With Matt Ryan,
when Matt did that. Yeah. Matt was on one that day. But those are like those are the 3 moments where I was like, I love these guys. I love this team. I'll never leave. That was it for me. Jack, what you got, man?
I mean, of course, the Green Bay Packer Falcon game in the dome was one of the most greatest moments I've ever experienced too as well. But you also have the Terry, throw these questions out there. You have the what was it? The Matt Ryan. What was it? The 300? Was it the 300-yard game for Julio? Was it
for Julio? Oh my God! Yeah. It's funny, Jack. You were talking about how we sun the Panthers, and a lot of these stories have the Panthers in it. The Panthers are on the receipt of these. So I'm just Panthers fans. I hope you're keeping these receipts because
I gotta go with the. I was in the dome down in New Orleans too as well. The Debo pick 6 was a moment.
Oh wait, was that wasn't here?
Love. No, that was in New Orleans. Here? No, the one
that was one of mine because he went up for that. Like
Debo.
he went up for that. He did. He went.
Crazy.
That was great.
Lisa, and I know you have to go.
I do, but now T. Will got me thinking. Can I add 2 more favorites?
Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Y'all, the Mohamed Sanu pass to Julio.
Yes.
Come on, y'all. I was like, what?
Yes.
We're living these Falcon moments here.
Wait a minute.
Yes. Yeah, I totally didn't see it coming because I was like, what's he doing? Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that. That
was fun. And then it's another Julio highlight where Julio climbed the ladder on Luke Kuechly, You remember that? And then
Yes.
went in for a TD. Like he literally, like, you know, went over Kuechly.
That was the game where they were 15-1 or something like that, getting ready for the playoffs,
like
and then
that,
we sunned them in the bends. We sunned them in the dome that day.
We sunned them. We did.
That was great. I mean, now that you got me, my mind is thinking. I was like, there's so many like Falcon, non-playoff moments where you're just like, yes.
Falcon fans, that like, share, and subscribe. But Lisa, I know the NFL schedule is getting ready to drop. We talked about this earlier about fans is getting ready to travel. Fans is getting ready to either get their season tickets because they want to see, when the teams that they're playing against, the dates will be announced. What game are you looking forward to this season? It could be home, it could be away. You're a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan, so I know you're ready for every game.
Yeah.
But what game, looking at the schedule so far, I mean, before it drops, which team are you saying, like, this game at home is going to be a crazy one, or this one's going to have so many fans, this one's probably going to be the biggest one for the Falcons this year? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I will say just generally, we have a really good home schedule, y'all. Like, a lot of good teams are coming in, but I have to say the Chiefs. I mean, I want to see how we play against the reigning Super Bowl champions. Let's see how we do against, Kelsey and Mahomes, So, and I would say away, not necessarily the team, but I want to go to Vegas. I mean, I've been before, but I've never been to that stadium. And I just think it's going to be a good time. I know I'm just kind of talking with other Falcons fans that is also high on their travel list this season to hit up Vegas. So I think that's going to be a good time. But I actually like our home schedule better than our road schedule because, I mean, we play Philly. I don't know if I want to go to Philly, y'all. I don't know if I want to go.
That's a very wise assessment, Lisa.
I've heard,
Philly's a tough one. Philly's a tough one for fans that's been there and know about the experience in Philly. It's not just the easiest game to go to, but Lisa.
But I mean, but it's a trip though, because typically I'll pick out, two I'm absolutely going to, and then circumstances will happen where a friend will be like, let's just go. And then I end up going, like that happened last year. Like I was going to London. That was like my big, I'm going to London trip. So, but then I ended up going to Detroit and Nashville and New Orleans. And I was just like, okay, you know what I mean? So it just kind of, I will have a set one that I want to go to. And
you got to go to New Orleans. You have to go.
I've been so many times. I don't need to be around Ain't Set often, really.
I love it. Man, I love her, man.
There's a lot of them down there, Lisa. There's a lot of them down there.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Lisa knows, for those that's never been to New Orleans, like, it's not like Atlanta when New Orleans fans come down here. They're looking for Falcon fans. Like, we show up to the game in the Benz and we tailgate. But Saints fans, you're going to see all day down there in the French Quarter. Even if you go outside the French Quarter, you're going to see Saints fans everywhere. Like, Lisa, the pride for that city is all New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's all Saints. So from the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they dress, the way they dance, the way they entertain themselves, it's all New Orleans, right? So
I mean, I've gotten booed the moment I've stepped off the plane in my Falcons gear, like walking through the airport, people will boo you. It's funny. I mean, I know what it is, but it's like, goodness gracious.
There was a joke about Falcon fans that was on a plane a couple of years ago going to New Orleans, and the flight attendants were from New Orleans. So when they were getting off the plane, they made a joke about the Super Bowl and everything. And fans were like, where did that come from? Like, we're getting off the plane and here comes the joke about the Super Bowl, because, they love to rub it in. Like, they will take it to the next level at the restaurants when you sit down and eat.
Oh yeah, restaurant, hotel. I'm like, you must not want to tip because you're talking a lot of trash.
You talk a lot of trash. Like,
I mean,
you sure you want me to eat here right now? Because those comments right there is not going to be. My group's not liking that right now. But for fans in the chat that love to travel, I mean, you guys can't wait. I mean, the schedule should be out probably not this week, probably next week. But Lisa, Terry, what games you looking forward to this year? Home, away?
Man, so definitely, I'm all about the petty. I'm a Scorpio. I'm petty. So I'm gonna say the Arthur Smith Bowl, the Dan Quinn Bowl, and the Minnesota Bowl. I'm excited about those. I got a cousin by marriage who's a Cowboys fan, and I'm going to that game because I can't wait to rub it in his face. I can't wait. Okay,
I'm glad there's going to be another Falcon fan in the Benz. We can take away those tickets from the Cowboys fans because fans going to try to sell those tickets.
Tell you what he did. So when we lost in 2016, he showed his natural whatever. So I'm petty. I'm petty, right? So I can't wait for him to spend his money, go and buy some food, and then me rub it in his face of the beatdown that they just experienced at the hands of my Falcons. So I'm excited about that. Miss Lisa, I got one last question for you because you fascinate me. Favorite trip, and it's for you too, Jack, because y'all both travel. Y'all both on the road. Favorite trip. I think I know Jack's least favorite one, but favorite trip as a Falcons fan and least favorite trip as a Falcons fan, and why? Miss Lisa, you're our guest. You go.
It has to be my first trip to London was in 2014 where we played the Lions. So fortunately, the result wasn't what we wanted. But I mean, there were so many Falcons fans there. Okay. And again, rise up, in London. And that was really why I was like, I got to go back to London. Gotcha. I didn't go during the pandemic when we played the Jets, and that one we did win. But when London was on the schedule last year, it's like, I have to go back. I had such a great time. I would say, and it has nothing to do with really the team in terms of, it's the Commanders. I went, I think 2 years. No, I think it was last year, and it rained, and we had really good seats.
Oh, okay.
No. It was when Mariota was with us, and he was a red zone INT. Okay. And I was just like, and we like again. So, but that Washington Commanders stadium is not great. It's a little older.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so that, I mean, it was my least favorite just because the venue, and again, I'm spoiled because we got the Benz, right? There's no comparison. But in all honesty, though, I love going on the road. I really do. But I was just say, I mean, and also the Aints. I hate going to the Super Dump. I mean, it's really like
it's that walk all the way down Bourbon, and you gotta make that right on St. Elizabeth.
Jack, we're gonna adopt her. I think she could come into our family. She got her priorities right. I think she could. Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to being a Falcon fan, you hate going to New Orleans sometimes, right? I mean, you love the experience of being down there, partying and everything, but when it gets to that game, it's like I gotta go into this stadium, like they ain't got no cup holders, man. It's like it's ridiculous.
And again, for sure, but the Super Dump because it's the Aints home stadium, so I mean, whatever. And again, the rivalry is what it is. And again, I can trash talk with the best of them, but sometimes people take it a little too far, and you got alcohol mixed in.
They do.
The Aints, they
do. They take it way too far. They take it way too far. They get personal so quick.
Yeah, very quick.
They get personal so quick.
And I say, I have friends that are Saints fans, that I know from college or whatever, but it's the ones that I don't know, the ones just passing me by that, and I'm like, I'm not going to catch a case down here. So let me
exactly.
I'm not going to catch a case in New York. Nah. Yes, but they some of them will try to take it there. And again,
they will.
I'm here to rep my team. You know what I mean? I'm here to rep my team, and I'm going to do that, win or lose. So.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping this year my least favorite is not going to be Philly. I heard about the experiences that fans have when they go to Philly.
Yeah.
Right. There's an area where apparently they throw things at you that you cannot see who's on the other side of that hill or some wall. There's a video of when they did it to the Vikings fans a couple years ago when the Vikings went out there to their stadium. There's a couple videos of how they treat certain fans out there too as well. So for fans that's heading out to Philly this year, I mean, we're going to have a lot of sections where hopefully, fans can sit together where we can, all just, bunch up and, yell out our love for the Falcons the right way without having Philly fans getting upset. But in the past, I would say my least favorite stadium was Chicago. When I went to that Bears game, we did win that game, but some of the fans that I dealt with in that section, they was ready to throw down, and it's one of those moments where it's like, okay, I just came to watch a game, but I guess I got to scrap it out now, Right. But
that's crazy.
London would have to be my favorite, I'd say.
Okay.
The experience in London, even though we did lose to the Jags, because that was just 2 or 3 hours. But after that, like just to go experience London, everything they had going on. In the area, I've always wanted to go over there. So that game right there was, I would probably say, my favorite. But then again, to add to it, that drive to Houston that I did for the Super Bowl, that was that was tough. That was a tough 12-hour drive.
Mm.
Because every moment was great driving down past, you're going through Alabama and Louisiana and everybody. You've seen all the Falcon fans get down there. And then the day of the game happened. And then we'd even go back to the hotel. We just drove straight back to Atlanta. So that was tough too as well. But Lisa, I do know you had to get up out of here. We'll probably continue the podcast. But where can we find you on social media? This has been great talking Falcons football with you. And also, Lisa, for most guests here, they usually show up and it's like 2 hours long, 3 hours long. You saw Scott Karisic. He was here for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that was a great show.
So we could always find, more content to talk about here on One Time for the Fan. But we're going to get you back here on the channel. Of course, we have the training camp coming up. We have OTAs coming up. We have so many events where me and you will probably run into each other talking Falcons football. So fans will definitely see you more here on the channel. But Lisa, where can we find you? Blogging Dirty, Twitter, social media? Because I know fans probably want to hear more of what you have to say about the Falcons because it's the off season, right? And everybody wants to, the fans got to stick together here.
Right. And again, positive fans, right?
Yes.
I think that's a big distinction because sometimes, in these groups, I'm like, are you really a Falcons fan?
Right.
Are you like, what's happening right now?
Is this therapy for you? You just, whatever. Go ahead.
So I'm you can see my articles on bloggingdirty.com. On X, it's at Lisa30331. But I'm pretty much, my content pretty much just is centered around the Falcons. And, whenever I do have an article published, I will put that out there on social media. I do have some fun articles coming up. One will be covering the draft and specifically the International Fan of the Year. He was part of the inner circle. He had the privilege of making the 4th round announcement and just that experience, like being basically front row for the whole draft, which is a major production. Gonna get his insight on that. Also, we were talking about some international fans. The Falcons have a lot of Canadian fans that I've met over the years. So
big shout out to my boy Kyle Yacy too as well. He's a Canadian fan.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'm going to be featuring, for instance, Canadian couple got married last year. I met them and they had gone to, I think they started out their honeymoon in LA. They went to Vegas, but the husband, big Falcons fan, to be honest, the wife is just kind of along for the ride, but he had never seen the Falcons play in person. So he integrated a Falcons game into his honeymoon. I was like, what? So those kind of stories where
that's the type of fan we want here in the podcast.
I mean, diehard, we're still in touch, so he's going to be featured. But like I said, I kind of focus on the fan side of things and just, the different experiences, people are having being a Falcons fan. But I really just thought that was so cool where, they came to, honeymoon here in the States and the husband had to see his team. I was just like, I love that.
That's the man with priorities right there. I love it. I love it.
But we definitely have to chop it up too as well about that because we have a lot of fan experiences that we have not only with One Time for the Fan, but of course with the Rise Up Tour. But what you do here for the Falcons fans is amazing because fans do listen to these podcasts and they do read these articles because we do have a fan base that wants to win, right? And when positivity is so big in a group like the Falcons fan base, at this time of knowing that this team could have a turnaround season, right? There are fans like Lisa Sheppard. There are fans out there like Scott Karisic. There are fans out there like A1 Forever that, we should definitely be listening to a lot more. So what you do for Blogging Dirty is great. Right.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for everything. It is great. That's all. Can't wait to see what you have coming up.
It is great. And the fact that she has a positive mindset, you know what I mean? Because we need that. We did. Miss Lisa, I have so much respect for you.
Thank you.
Preparing for this article, I went back and I looked at a lot of your articles. I went back and I looked at a lot of what you did. And you are a pioneer and a trendsetter. And what I'm going to say to you is it only gets better and greater and you keep going. And hey, man, I've been so honored to meet all of these dynamic people. And, ladies and gentlemen of One Time for the Fan, this is a dynamic lady right here. I can tell you right now, she has no fear about anything. I love it. She got a priority straight. She hates the Saints. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Please come back. And yeah.
Lisa, your shout outs before you go ahead and get up out of here, because we're going to do probably do like another 15-20 minutes, but your shout outs.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you all for having me. It's always a pleasure to join One Time for the Fan and meeting you, T. Will, and to all the Falcons fans out there. We know what time it is, and I feel like we've been through it, but we're still here repping our team. And
that's right.
And that's the thing. Anytime, and particularly the Aints really troll us harder than Patriots fans over what happened in our Super Bowl. And I'm like, well, we're still here. So what's next?
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
that's right. And
you're not going to shame me into repping my team. It's just not going to happen. It's just impossible.
That's right.
So yeah, I will, anytime they try to come for the Falcons, I mean, they got the right one, because I ain't afraid of the smoke. So
there you go. I love it.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We'll put all Lisa's information in the description for YouTube, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. Also, it will be in the Spotify and Apple Podcast descriptions too as well. So, Lisa, we do appreciate you here joining us on One Time for the Fan, and of course, we'll see you probably at training camp. That's probably the next
I'll
time
be there for sure.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thanks.
Rise up.
Rise up.
Falcon fans, this is what it's all about. I told y'all we always bring special guests on here that love talking Falcons football, right? And Terry, Lisa, this is her second or third time I think on the podcast, and once again, we did go over the time limit. That we tried to stay in the time limit. We went over the time limit because Lisa loves talking Falcons football, and we could technically be here talking for another hour or two, if we wanted to. So, Falcon fans, definitely head over to Lisa. ATL Lisa on Twitter. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and put it up here in just a second so you guys can go follow her on Twitter, her social medias too as well, Facebook, Instagram, even BloggingDirty too as well, because Lisa's been rocking with us here on One Time for the Fan for a while. But outside of that, she's a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan, right? So It was great that she can take the time from her day to come talk to Falcon fans here on the channel for about an hour, right? And that's pretty cool. Terry?
No, I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. You're putting her social up there, right? Yeah. I just think Miss Lisa's great. I've read her content, and the one thing that I think the guests that come on our podcast, they're positive, and you need that. There's so much negativity out here. You need that. You need that guidepost, and I love what she's about, man. I love what she's about.
You speak about negativity. So look what's going on in the industry right now, the music industry. It's like the year of beef, right? Everybody's beefing with each other. Everybody's gassed up in the music industry.
Kendrick is on one, bro. Kendrick is
but
on
even
one.
from the music industry, you're seeing it with other different fields too as well. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I think my internet's doing crazy things, but yeah, man.
Sheesh. Did you pay the bill?
No, I did. I thought so. Yeah. Hey, do me a favor. Can you bring
Welcome
up
to the world of jokes here at One Time for the Fan. Just want to let
That's
you know.
That's what we do, man. Can you bring up Emmanuel's comment?
Oh, Emmanuel's comment? Definitely.
Yeah.
Where's Emmanuel?
And I wanted to say, hey, Carrie, but I didn't want to interrupt Miss Lisa and hey, Miss Pam. And
there's a lot of Falcon fans in the chat. Also, too, as well, you know how it is when we have special guests. So a lot of times, we can't do the shout outs, but we put the comments on the screen. That's also a form of respect here at One Time for the Fan. We want fans to speak their minds about the team. And we do put the comments up here in the chat. Emmanuel, I don't see Emmanuel's comment unless
Emmanuel's
here it is back right here.
Yeah. First and foremost, man, hey, condolences for your father-in-law. But Mr. Emmanuel, I remember that 80s game against the Cowboys when they broke our hearts. I think we were up by 14 points and they came back to win it. And oh my God, I just cried. I think that was 1980. It's either 80 or 81. I think it was 80. And oh my God, they broke my heart. So I agree. I agree. I've hated the Cowboys for a long time, and yes, I hope they lose badly when they come here.
And also big shout out to you, Terry, for that question that you asked Lisa, because we did throw some topics at Lisa that she knew about, and then we had some off the grill topics too as well that Lisa, who does a great job talking Falcons, she's she's podcast ready. I don't know if she might even start a podcast, but she's kind of like podcast
Should.
ready.
I hope she does.
So the question you threw about the moments, the greatest moments for Falcons history, or as a fan, that actually took me back to relive some of those moments, because the drive down to Houston, right? I remember that. Like, I remember it when Falcon fans, if I get this moment again, like, where's the Super Bowl this year? New Orleans? You can't tell me. I drive to New Orleans on a regular basis, right? I drive to New Orleans just off of just having a good time down there, right? Just like vacation type shit. So for the Falcons getting a chance to play in New Orleans in the regular season, and if they make it back to the Super Bowl, I can make a 6-hour drive to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Come on, man. Don't tell me that.
That would be poetic.
So that year of driving to Houston, 12-hour drive, I did that. I love every single moment about that, driving down. I had bought a brand new car that week too as well. So I was like, shit, I'm driving my brand new car. There was some problems with fans getting transportation down to the Super Bowl and how they're going to, and the flights were going crazy. I'm like, that car has less than 1,000 miles on it.
That's stupid.
I went to Google Maps and it was like, it's a 12-hour ride. So I made that drive because I had already drove to Chicago too as well. So I was like, well, I can do this. Yeah. So I was like, I can do this. Plus, when I go on the road too as well, I love driving to some of these cities. I drove to Washington before, so I might even drive back to that city too as well. Those road trips are actually pretty fun. New Orleans, Carolina. So some of those games I drive to. But just to relive that moment, even this year when the schedule drops, for Falcon fans that's going on the road this year, that's traveling to a Falcons game, maybe if you're traveling to the home game, you might fly there, you might drive there. But that week leading up to it, that day before you fly out, that moment of when you get on the plane, when you get off the plane, you heard it from Lisa Sheppard with the draft day experience. Like, those are cool ass moments for Falcon fans, right? For an NFL fan, right? Because even for a fan who's traveling to one game this year, he's expecting to go to that one game. He is ready for that one game. He don't care if it's week 15. If that's the one game he's going to. All right, cool story. Met a fan in Arizona last year, and this kid was like 13 years old, right? We're sitting over there outside of a restaurant where we had a Rise Up Tour event. And there was, of course, we have a lot of Rise Up Tour Falcon fans around. And this kid is sitting over there with his dad, right? And he keeps looking over at us. We have the, our lanyards on. We have our Rise Up Tour shirts and everything. And he walks over and he's like, "Hey, how can we get one of those shirts?" And it's like, "Well, what do you mean, how can we get one of those shirts?" Like, I'm just kind of looking at it like, "What are you talking about?" So he said, and you can see he has a white and like, it's kind of like a custom made type of Falcon shirt that he's wearing. But he said that him and his dad were from Iowa, right? And that was their first Falcons game, right? Kid is 13. They saved up a bunch of money for like a year and some change just to go to his first Falcons game. And they flew in from Iowa, right? So we gave the dad the information for the Rise Up Tour, and we kept in contact with the dad. But of course, the father is getting ready to do what this season? Come to another game year. Come to the Benz this year with his son, because his son's a diehard Falcon fan. The dad then walked over. So what happened was the dad didn't want to come over there and talk to us because he, he ain't a real big time Falcon fan like that. But his son's a Falcon fan. But the kid is 13. Like, how deep is our fan base to know that this kid wants to fly in from Iowa to Arizona just to go to that game? Then he met a group of Falcon fans that traveled to games, and the dad is like, "Oh yeah, sure. Well, shit, we're gonna be going to a bunch of games anyway. We'll get my wife, we'll get my brother. We'll go to a bunch of games." But we have a big fan base. We have a really big fan base, so it's cool to see these, hear these stories of fans who travel to games and these experiences. Like you saw what Jeff Wolf said. Jeff Wolf was in the chat. Philly ain't no joke. Be careful. Been twice.
Yeah.
And we're going to play Philly this year. And you know what we do with the Rise Up Tour, the fan club. We throw these events. So even my friends in Philly already told me, don't go out there trying to throw these parties and shit in these wild areas thinking y'all finna have a good time and shit. Like, there's some areas in Philly you got to be careful.
Correct.
Same like we went to LA a couple years ago. Same thing. So even this is not even just Philly in the city. We're talking about at the stadium too as well. Yeah. And for those that do not know, we do have these halftime photos where I will call the section, or a member of the Rise Up Tour will call a section. Big shout out to the tour. And we all meet up at halftime and we make a shit ton of noise. How you think Philly fans are gonna respond to that? Yeah. Saints fans don't respond to that well. They don't never let us take our photo. We go do a halftime photo. They never let us take a photo. DSGB Hall said, "Why y'all alive? Drake just dropped again." What?
Damn. Wow.
Are you kidding me? This is the second time.
Kendrick responded yesterday, right? Kendrick responded yesterday Drake dropped one, and then Kendrick responded like 5 minutes later or something like that.
Well, Kendrick is destroying the man right now, but I'm just saying, like, are you kidding me? Don't tell me Drake just dropped another one.
Man, this thing is so big. It was on Saturday Night Live last night, Jack.
The Heart Part 6, Kendrick Lamar diss. Are you kidding me?
Jack, this was on. They made a skit out of it on Saturday Night Live last night.
Bro, we came here to talk Falcons football, but Friday morning we was live with A1 Forever on our Breakfast for One Time for the Fan.
Yeah,
and the chat went live and said, Kendrick just dropped.
Yeah,
he just dropped.
Yeah, she sure did.
Chat went crazy. We had almost 60-some people, 75-some people in the chat. Chat went stupid.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I was like, what? Kendrick just dropped, and the show just turned into chat was like Kendrick. And he went crazy. But now as we're live here on One Time for the Fan talking Falcons football, Drake just dropped another one. I ain't finna turn into no vlogger, no music vlogger. I ain't finna do this.
Yeah. It's
but this
real.
Beef that's going on. We talked about beef tonight. Right? We talked about rivalry tonight. Right?
It's getting real.
We have some beef going on here in the NFL.
Yeah, we do.
Right? We have a rivalry going on in the NFL. Falcons Saints. The rivalry is the division. The beef is within the division. We got to outrun the division. So that media, that music shit, it does happen over here too as well in the NFL. We don't like the Saints.
No, we don't.
We're gonna beat them.
Jack.
What's up,
Jack? Give me, other than Yankees, Red Sox, right? We'll take them out of it. We'll take Alabama, Auburn out of it because those are the two, right? Other than those two, give me a rivalry that is where there's as much hatred as Falcons Saints. I honestly can't think of one.
I mean, I think Alabama, Georgia. I've been to a couple Alabama, Georgia games, and of course they play them always at a level where it's some SEC championship, some type of big bowl game. Yeah. But this year they play like week 2, week 3.
Something like that, yeah.
But I mean, my friend who's an Eagles fan has told me like the Eagles Cowboys rivalry is stupid.
Yeah, that
like,
is. Okay.
When they go to, however, the Dallas Cowboy fans going to Philly, Philly's going to Cow, like they just hate each other, right?
Okay.
UGA Florida. Okay. I'll say this for UGA Florida. I've been down to Jacksonville for the game 2 years ago. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a funny story. I drove to UGA, Florida for the game Friday. The game was Saturday. Got plastered with some UGA friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the game. That was like 4:30, 5:30, whatever it was. Went back, tailgated afterwards because UGA destroyed them. Right. Drove back to Atlanta for Falcons Panthers the following day. That Sunday. All within 24 hours. Partied at UGA, Florida, drove down there, drove back for Falcons Panthers following day. I mean, come on, Falcons fans. This is diehard, real fan behavior. UGA, Florida is pretty close to as well.
It is. It is. That's a rivalry.
I would say, some would say Manchester City and Manchester United is a pretty big rivalry too as well. Real Madrid and Barcelona is a big rivalry. For those that do not know, El Clasico is one of the biggest soccer games ever, right? Okay. And if you've never been to that, if you've never heard about it, it is a crazy experience. But yeah, that's what I've seen so far with the rivalries. Terry, what you got?
I mean, you pretty much covered all of them. The only other thing I can think of is maybe Argentina and Colombia. I know they hate each other.
Sheesh.
Hate each other. That's a soccer rivalry. Basketball, maybe Celtics, Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Going back in the day.
Anybody the Bulls played on NBC. If it was an NBC game with the Bulls, it was a rivalry.
Well, for a while, I think it was Bulls Detroit, and then maybe Bulls and Knicks. I would say those were some rivalries, but I don't think anything rises to the level of hatred of Falcons Saints, with the exception of maybe Red Sox and Yankees. They hate each other. Mm-hmm. They hate each other. Mm-hmm. And what was the other one? Whatever other one I said, but yeah, But other than that, I think Falcons Saints is because you can fit. It's exactly how Miss Lisa described it. If I'm out somewhere and I bump into a Panthers fan, we can have a conversation. We can roast each other. It's fine. If I bump into a Tampa Bay fan,
same thing.
Same thing. You bump into a New
an
Orleans
Aints fan,
fan,
it's a totally different energy.
You got to think about it. You got to think about it, because as soon as there's a statement said, it's going to be one or two, and then it's going to get personal. I've noticed that about them. Like, they are quick to just go to your mama. Like, it's well, we did so and so, your mama, and so it's man. That's a bit of rivalry. That is a bit, and it
So
doesn't
we did
matter how old they
so
are.
just talk basic conversation, and it's like your mama. So the diss jokes already come out early.
Well, when you got nothing else to say, right? That's what you do. Like, but the hate is palpable, man. It is. The hate is real. So
I'm sure there's a lot of Falcon fans that probably said, wait a minute, Drake just dropped. We're gonna go listen to this, right? So Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I want to go listen to it too, because this is entertaining. But for those that's in the chat, once again, this has been great talking to everybody here. This is what we do. Like, we love talking Falcons football with you all. Sundays at 8, Wednesdays at 8, a couple pop-up shows here and there. And of course, we have our breakfast with One Time for the Fan. For those that's going to be traveling to these away games, don't forget about the Rise Up Tour fan club. The Rise Up Tour fan club is a group of diehard Atlanta Falcon fans who travel to away games. All we do is travel to away games. Of course, a lot of us are, fans and season ticket holders and PSL holders here. So when it comes to being at the Bends, I mean, we do link up every now and then. And of course, in the off season, we have our off season events. But the schedule's getting ready to drop, and fans want to go to Vegas. They want to go to New Orleans. They want to go everywhere. And the Rise Up Tour fan club can get you right when you go on the road. So for those in the chat, hit that like, share, and subscribe. And also head on over. You can sign up for the Rise Up Tour. We have a big Rise Up Tour fan club podcast coming up for the scheduled release, because we know fans are going to be traveling, and we got a lot of diehard fans who's going to be joining us who have damn near been to every stadium, right? So they can tell you about Minnesota. They can tell you about Washington. They can tell you about Philly, right? Because you traveling to these cities, you want to know. It's not just a walk up and walk in and walk out. For some fans, it's totally different, right? Mm-hmm. So for those in the chat, hit that like, share, and subscribe. Lisa Sheppard's also in the chat too as well. She said, Ocho Cinco tweeted a few years back he didn't know how intense the Falcons-Aints rivalry is. Well, it's definitely probably the biggest in the South when it comes to outside of, like you said, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and of course, Falcons, Saints. It's definitely bigger than Falcons, Panthers. There's no rivalry there. That's little brother, big brother shit.
That's
Falcons,
like,
Bucks. Yeah, that's we wash hands with them. But then again, when it comes to the Saints, it's like, nah, we don't rock with them cats.
Right.
But we're gonna have a great time this year, right? We're gonna have a great season. I think the Falcons are going to take it to the next level. Michael's in the chat. He said he dropped, but it was mid. So Michael probably left the chat, came back to let us know it's been mid. Yeah, and for those that's like, I'm not going to do the vlog shit, right? Because I'm in a Discord with a lot of other music fans, and I do speak about what is going on with the beef, and fans are like, yo, you should do a music vlog or a music podcast, that type of thing. And it's like, nah, I'm not going to go out there and start critiquing artists and doing this shit. I'm not doing that shit, right? Because people take that shit personal, but
they do.
Your boy out there in Canada is getting slaughtered on that microphone right now, like bar for bar. Like, there is like Ghost Rider metaphor rap, and then there's like bar for bar, like real hip hop, like rap. And Kendrick he's on point. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna lie. What time is it? It's 9:35. It's 6:35 on the West Coast. Drake just dropped something. I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick go ahead.
Kendrick comes right back. It wouldn't surprise me either.
Finna drop something again tonight.
Yeah.
And I tweeted that earlier, like, this could be ugly. Like, this could be ugly today.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you, Jack. Is from just the perspective of I'm gonna cut you off at the knees and just devour you. Has Kendrick arrived at the level of Eminem when Eminem was in his?
Oh man,
yeah, at the top of his
that's
game.
A different story. That's a different story. I think this is a new era of hip hop. But if you take those fans, if you take Eminem from a long time ago and put him in now, in a moment where people diss him, It would be ugly. It would be
You
ugly.
think so?
I mean, he has no respect when it comes to the diss. Like he would remember his old diss records, Eminem?
Yeah.
Like he was
Oh,
talking
you're
about
saying
some
it would be
things that
ugly for them. You
it
saying
would be ugly for
not him.
them. Yeah. It would be
Yes,
ugly
yeah,
for
I
them.
agree. I agree with
Like
that.
old
I agree with that
Eminem,
100%.
you take him from old time era
Oh, he had
Eminem
no
and
filter.
put him in now in like a
He had
beef
no
with him and
filter.
Drake.
Right.
Just imagine what
Right.
he would say to Drake
Yeah.
that we already heard from Slim Shady years ago.
Yeah.
Like some
Yeah.
of the stuff he was saying years ago, bro, he was saying disrespectful stuff about his own family.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that dude just has no care. I mean, right now, I think
Yeah.
he just dropped a recent diss record to somebody. He was talking about Benzino recently,
Yeah.
right? And that's not on that level of, Kendrick and Drake because,
Right.
those guys are past their time now.
Right.
But just imagine if that would have happened. I mean, I don't want, it's a lot. It's a lot. But for Falcon fans here in the chat, our rivalry is the Saints. Our rivalry is that division, and we got to outrun the South. So big shout out to Raheem for what he's been saying.
Do it.
Because I'm glued in on what he's been saying about outrunning the South. Lisa Sheppard, thank you for joining us here tonight on One Time for the Fan.
Yes,
That's what it's all about when we have die-hard Atlanta Falcon fans here talking Falcons football with us. Terry, it's a good feeling, man. It's a really good feeling when you have fans who can show up, take the time out their day to come rap with us about a team that hasn't even hit the field yet. I mean, they're out there practicing. But a team that hasn't even hit the field yet, right? Fans are in the chat. They're excited about the schedule release. They're talking about Penix, talking about the rookies, the draft class, which we haven't even mentioned tonight. We haven't even mentioned Jesse Bates. We even mentioned Grady Jarrett. We even mentioned AJ Terrell, right? But you have a fan like Lisa Sheppard here who can give you so much other content about the Falcons, so much other topics about the Falcons, where we don't have to talk about D. Alford. We don't have to talk about Mike Hughes, Jake Matthews. But there's going to be other podcasts where we're going to be on top. We're going to be taking care of that. We're going to be talking about that. So it's great to have Lisa Sheppard here on the podcast, Terry.
It is. It really is. I find new things to like about this team every day. I'm always
to different people every day, and just like, yep. They give you a whole new level. Now I really want to go to the draft now. Like I've talked to enough fans that have been to the draft, but hearing Lisa Sheppard about getting off the plane and the fans on the plane and going to the bars and the restaurants, and it's all from the day you arrive to the day you leave. Yeah, like that's my type of fan experience I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this defensive line. I think they're going to be special. I really do. I think the NFL is not ready for what we're going to unleash. I really do. I think it's a minimum of 11 wins, and I don't even think it's going to be close. I think because we already had these tools on offense, and you added to that, right? That's what most people are not seeing. You talk all you want about Michael Penix, whatever. The weapons that we got, right? We got absolutely what we needed, right? We got Drake, who can make plays in contention. He's one of the best at going up and contesting receptions. Kyle can do his thing. Bijan can do his thing. We needed speed, and we got that. So now guess what? That field's going to be stretched out. Kyle's going to have more room. Drake's going to have more room, right? Yes.
So now you're getting into talk about players. Now I want to talk about some of the players, but I have some things to do.
Bro,
but
I'm just saying, man. I'm excited about what we can do with that. And this defensive line, do you know the talent that, look, even if you start with Eddie Goldman, if Eddie Goldman is 3/4 of what he was when he played,
2019,
oh my God. And that's the starting unit. You got two units. You could have two starting units on that defensive line. Like it's that deep, right? I'm excited about him. I'm looking to, and Raheem is gonna have those guys ready. He's gonna have those guys. You've heard Raheem talk. Picture it. It's week 1. We're about to go out and kick the shit out of whoever we're playing, and Raheem has those boys. Man, I lose sleep at night just thinking about it. I can't wait. I'm excited. If you cut me, I bleed black and red. And I just cannot wait to show all of these news pundits. You know what? For me, it'd be worth it to win the Super Bowl just so they could shut up, just so they could eat crow, just so they could Oh, okay. Well, what? Because I don't think they are really evaluating the talent, the depth of talent that we have on this team.
Yeah.
We got Tyler Algier somewhere else would probably start.
Mm-hmm.
Probably start, right? You got two stud running backs. You got a stud receiver. You could almost call Mooney a
We got a
stud.
Hall
You
of
got at
Fame
least
left. Got a
two.
Hall of Fame tackle in Jake Matthews.
Right.
Possibly. You also have Grady
You
Jarrett.
got a tight end that is a prototype. He's a prototype all his own, right? You got all of these weapons on offense, and you got the one thing. You not only got one quarterback, you got two.
Mm-hmm.
Bro. Yeah.
Time is now.
Yeah.
The time is now. Falcon fans,
and
hit that
it's a risk. You know, it's a risk. It's a risk. But I don't know a person that, if you're going to get anywhere in America,
mm-hmm.
you got to take a risk, right? You took a risk doing the Rise Up tour. How's that working out for you, Jack? Pretty damn good, right? Wouldn't you say?
Pretty well.
I'd say for you and Thomas, right? Just a phone call and hey, let's throw a party. And 3, 4, 5 years later, look at where you are now, or whatever the time frame is.
Just,
look at where you are now.
It started with just, with me and Thomas.
But you took a risk. You took a risk. You didn't know Thomas. You took a risk, right? So that's what we did, Falcons fans. We took a risk. Yes, we know Kirk is 36. We know Penix has an injury history, but let's think positive. What if it works out? What if it works out? What if it works out? What if this is the year? What if this is the year? What if next year is the year we put some legitimacy on our name? Do you realize what it's going to be like if we win that Super Bowl, Jack? Do you realize what that feeling is going to be?
You got to fight for a spot at the parade. That's the problem, is getting a spot at the parade.
I'm talking about when the clock hits 0, I'm going to lose my mind.
When the clock strikes 0, the best thing Falcon fans should do is go find a spot for the parade.
Bro.
For those that's close to the downtown area or has time on their hands that can take, because the Super Bowl would be Sunday and the parade would be like Tuesday, Wednesday, right? It'd be around that time. I don't
even know if I'm gonna live to Tuesday or Wednesday because I'm gonna be partying that hard. Like, first off, I know I'm gonna cry.
So you gotta be prepared for it. So what would happen is, I would definitely, if I know the Falcons are getting ready to win that Super Bowl, like it's down to the fourth quarter, we're up like 2 touchdowns, like it's that moment where we're winning, like. The game is over. We have the ball. We're getting ready to take a knee. I'm going to book a room definitely for downtown Atlanta because you want to. Because that traffic's going to be stupid. Whatever side of town you're going to be on, that traffic's going to be stupid. Matter of fact, should I even give y'all my plan? Because a lot of people's listening here, like, oh, what is Jack about to do? What is Jack about to do? Nah, F that. I'm not giving y'all the plan. Yeah. But you have to get a good spot for the parade because the Falcons Super Bowl is going to have entertainment. You have your people here in the city, like Lisa mentioned, the 50 years of hip hop, right? There's going to be celebrities left and right. There's going to be probably a car show. There's going to be an after party. There's going to be a tailgate. There's going to be probably a stripper pole. Hell, it's Atlanta. You never know what's going to happen in that crowd. Wings are going to be going lemon pepper wings everywhere. Hell, they're not even tossing out beads from the damn truck. They're tossing about lemon pepper wings. Yeah. Everybody get JR crickets. Everybody get American Devil.
The confetti.
It's gonna be going. It's gonna be crazy. That's the confetti from the buses. It's gonna be bigger than the Braves parade. Which I saw the Braves. I saw the Atlanta United. Saw Georgia. But the Falcons.
Oh my God, Jack! Oh my God, bro!
Super Bowl parade is gonna be
bro. You know what? It's not even about me. It's about the Falcons that have come before us: the William Andrews, the Steve Bartkowskis, the Chris Chandlers, the Jamal Anderson, the Michael Vicks, the Algie Crumplers. I could go on and on, but like I just feel like in that moment. We would all be there, and as a city, we could collectively say. Finally,
here's the cool thing, though. Like, I mean, we're doing a long shot here. So I know Falcon fans are like, well, you guys are talking Super Bowl for the Falcons. We haven't even played a game yet. If it happens, when it happens,
whatever.
Is it going to be Centennial that they're going to go to do the ceremony, the speech, and everything?
Yeah.
Are they going to or are they going to do it at the Benz? Right? Just imagine doing it at the Benz, where it's ticketed inside. And then you have the parade outside. So now fans are trying to get a spot at the parade, and they're trying to get a spot at the Benz,
or both,
right? Or wherever they're going to have. I mean, just imagine that moment. here in the city. We saw what happened with the Braves, and fans are mad at the bus.
Bro. You know what?
It's gonna be crazy.
I don't even know that I could do the Super Bowl, man. Because honestly, I love my Falcons so much, man. I get emotional. Like I probably would cry for 2 or 3 days just because I've been through it. I've been through it when we lost to the Cowboys. I've been through it when we lost the Super Bowl. I've been through it when we lost in the 90s. I've been through it. And to see my Falcons that I love so much, to see them hoist that trophy and say to everybody in the Super Bowl, especially the Saints, we're number one and you can't take it away. I can't. I'm a very articulate person. I can't even put into words how that would make me feel. Like I'd have to go and have a drink with my dead dad's ashes. I probably would drink with both my brothers. We probably, bro, I'm gonna hug my kids. I'm gonna kiss my wife. I can't think of anything better. Like I cannot think of it. That's right, Hal. Atlanta, Pittsburgh. Moment. Let's go. Yes,
a good
Hal.
moment
yes.
that I think
Let's
most
go.
fans
yes.
would love.
100%. And we whooped their. You know what? Yeah,
a good
absolutely.
moment I think fans would love, Terry. Even you might love this too as well. Same for me. Same for Eric Parker, Emmanuel McFarland, is when you get those congratulations text messages from fans that either, they've already won their Super Bowl or, they've been hating on you for such a long time. You're going to look down at their phone and you're going to be like, congratulations. Like, I'm not the player. I didn't play the game.
Right.
But they know as a diehard fan, you had to tell me congratulations because I've been through this shit. Right. Just like the player, just like the coach, just like the organization. Like, if they're on the field, I'm in the stands.
Bro.
If they're on the field, I'm in the stands. Y'all know what it is when it comes to me as a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan. So hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Once again, big shout out to Lisa Sheppard who joined us, ATO Lisa from BloggingDirty, who came and talked Falcons football for almost what could have been an hour and a half. I mean, we did have to, she has some stuff to do. But for Falcon fans that would like to have her back here on the channel, she would definitely be back. Probably by training camp or around that time, but you would definitely see more of Lisa Sheppard here on One Time for the Fan. Terry, the Tonight show has been great. Your shout outs before we go ahead and get up out of here. I got a bunch of eSport guys. I can't translate all what they're saying right now. I need to do my it's like paragraphs of different languages I have to translate and take care of. But what you got going on, Terry? Your shout outs. We're going to be back Wednesday night talking Falcons football. Man. And we might even have a special guest with us too as well. Terry, what you got?
Hey, man. Again, thank you, God, for waking me up. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for my mom. Thank you for my family. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for my job. Thank you for the show. Thank you for Jack. Thank you for Chase. Thank you for Bodie. Thank you for Miss Lisa. Hell, thank you for everybody. To the fans, hey, man, I love y'all. I'm here with y'all. I appreciate y'all. And, hey, man, I just I'm not going to be long tonight, but believe, man. Just believe. Tune out all the outside noise. Let's come together. Let's focus. Let's be intentional. Let's focus on these Falcons. Let's be positive. Let's drive. Let's grow. Let's grow as a franchise. Let's grow as a fan base. Let's get better collectively together, man. I'm all about winning, and I just want all of my Falcon fans to experience a Super Bowl just one time. And guess what? Why not us? Why not us, right? The 49ers one day were Super Bowl less. The Steelers one day were Super Bowl less. The Cowboys one day were Super Bowl less. The Seahawks one day were Super Bowl less, right? Now they have Super Bowls, but they had to do something. They had to have a movement. They had to get started, right? I believe our time will come. Our time will come. So you can't focus on yesterday. 28-3 is gone. It's yesterday. The loss to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017 is gone. It's yesterday. You cannot move forward and go back at the same time. Pick a side. Let's go. Let's move forward. Let's support these Falcons. Let's not be negative. Let's believe in one another. Let's pick each other up, and let's go. Jack, I defer to you.
Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. We love all the Falcon fans here in the chat and the channel. We always talk Falcons football with you all every single time we get the opportunity. But of course, our Wednesday, Sunday shows are definitely doing big things here. Everybody's enjoying that. Our Friday morning show went crazy the other day with A1 Forever. So we're going to get some more special guests here on the channel, more Falcon fans here on the channel, because people want to talk Falcons football. Walter Christopher May Jr. Is in the chat. He said the Falcons feel in love with Penix. They worked him out in the wet, cold, and windy conditions in Seattle. They said the way he threw that ball in those conditions, they thought they were in the dome. And that's good to hear, right? Because positive notes from the coach and the organization, gives me a positive outlook for the team. Manuel McFarland said, can we just go seal the deal, sign Trey Hendrickson, and shut all conversation down with a couple of roster spots left for the Falcons? I think they're at like 85 or 86. They could bring in a couple guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, we talked about the other day where we got off the podcast and we said anything can happen between now and Sunday. And sure enough, 2 hours after we got out to the podcast, we heard comments about how they tried to trade back up and how to do all this other stuff. So, I mean, it could happen tomorrow morning. First thing, Falcons sign this person. The Falcons do this. But we're going to be here to talk about it on One Time for the Fan. Chrissy Lewis said, that would be my dream. My folks are Steelers fans, and I'm the only Dirty Bird. And the Falcons play the Steelers this year. So I already know Chrissy Lewis, they're going to be talking hell of shit when he gets ready for that game, because it looks like a house divided, family divided type of thing going on. But it's good that Chrissy Lewis is always repping.
Love it, Hal.
The Dirty Birds. Hal Poole said, this is our year. You're either with us or you're against us. Rise up. Hal here is in the chat talking that positive Falcons fandom that people love to hear. Emmanuel McFarland said, yes! Why not us? It's our time. We ready. Michael's in the chat too as well with Trey, Simmons, and Witherspoon could seal this defense. I mean, I think if Falcon fans are, gearing up for a couple moves the Falcons could make, that's actually pretty cool where, we've got a team where fans are impressed with, and then you have a couple roster spots and you're like, look at these free agents.
Yeah.
What is Terry going to do? And, it could bring about a couple players enter Flowery Branch facility this week. So be prepared for that, right? Yeah. I mean, we'd love to see that happen. Shout outs here on One Time for the Fan. Big shout out to Terry. Big shout out to Lisa. Big shout out to Bodie. Big shout out to Chase. DFU, One Time for the Fan. We're doing big things over here. Big shout out to all the Rise Up content creators out there. So many of you all doing good things too as well. Big shout out to my family and of course the Falcons family, right? We're all going to win. We're going to get that opportunity to celebrate at a parade one day. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Hal Poole said, one more payment, I have my season tickets.
Awesome. Love it.
Hey, man, that's what you love to hear. Falcon fans in the chat. Season ticket holders are in the chat. And don't forget, if you are a season ticket holder, rep your section here in the chat. If you are a season ticket holder, rep your section here in the chat. Possibly could hear some news about the NFL schedule release. Some fans are saying it's May 9th. Other fans are saying it's like May 14th. Other fans are saying it's like May 20th. So maybe we'll get that from the NFL too as well coming up in a matter of hours. Section 108 in the building too as well. Hal Poole is here with section 118. Lisa Sheppard's here with section
134. I see Hal. I see you, Lisa.
4. So there's a lot of diehard Falcon fans here who have season tickets. And of course, there's going to be a lot more here in the chat and the channel as we go. Pamela Johnson's in the chat with 314. Pam Johnson, you good? I'm good. Rise up from Pam Johnson because she's a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan. No matter where she sits, home games, away games, Auntie Pam is going to be representing her Atlanta Falcons. And then shout outs go to Auntie Pam. The shout outs go to Lisa Sheppard. The shout outs go to the chat, Michael, everybody, because One Time for the Fan is from the fan for the fan. We want you all to be entertained with what we have. Now I gotta go ahead and take care of some esports stuff.
We didn't get our trivia from our trivia dude tonight. We didn't get it.
No, we actually did. And I apologize, Deshaun. We actually did because Deshaun was in the chat first, and he does get the award tonight for being in the chat first.
Sorry, Deshaun.
The comments, the stream, everything was coming up kind of off for some strange reason. Because even the time frame when I started the stream, it said you're not scheduled to go live yet, but do you want to go live? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's time to go live. But the comment had rolled up, and then of course everybody else comments started rolling up, and I started moving around on the mouse here, and I got past Deshaun's comment. But he said, "What's up, one timers?"
Isn't that the Fugees?
Question: the score was released by which hip hop group or artist? Yeek, get some. Deshaun, we're hip hop legends over here.
That's the Fugees, right? I want to say that's the Fugees.
That's the Fugees, man.
I thought that was the Fugees. I thought that was the Fugees. Yeah. I feel better about myself because I was like, after that other one, I was like, I knew it was Cool Man Herc. I just couldn't DJ Cool Herc. I just couldn't think about it. So thank you, Deshaun. I feel better. Best seat in the stadium. I can see the whole field. I hear that.
See the whole field.
All right,
Michael said both of y'all got the same numbers, 314, 134. Sound like y'all want to play the Cash 3? Hey, that might be a sign. Cash 3.
Hey,
Dollar straight box.
Give us
Falcon
the winning
fans.
numbers.
Manuel said, must be a Saints fan operating StreamYard tonight.
Must be.
Tried to block us. But yes, the shout outs go out to you all. Wednesday night, 8 p.m. We're back. We'll probably have a special guest. But I mean, to have Lisa Sheppard on tonight is definitely amazing. So, Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Like, we are rounding the corner to 1,000. We all need your, community Falcon support, right? We want everybody to be a part of what we got here with One Time for the Fan. Terry?
Yes, sir.
I'll see you on Wednesday, man.
See you on Wednesday, sir.